Live from this news center of the Sultanate of Oman television, here we present to you tonight's news bulletin. But first, the headlines. The Ministry of Health reports 7 deaths and 290 new cases of COVID-19 in the Sultanate. The effects of the weather condition ends as scattered rains are expected on some governorates of the Sultanate. And Beirut blast death toll rises to 158 and more than 6,000 people are injured. Good evening once again, and thank you for joining us. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq sends a cabal of greetings to Her Excellency President Halima Yaqub of the Republic of Singapore on her country's National Day. The Ministry of Health announced 7 deaths of COVID-19 patients, which brings the total number of COVID-19 fatalities in the Sultanate to 509. The ministry also announced 290 new confirmed cases of COVID-19, which brings the total number registered in the Sultanate to 81,357. The Minister of Health stresses that 73,481 cases have been recovered. The latest analysis of national hazards or multi-hazard early warning center shows that the possible effects of the low trough have ended, as the latest forecasts show that the trough is centered in north of the Arabian Sea near the Pakistani coast, with chances of scattered rains. Sea state will be moderate along the Sea of Oman coast with a maximum wave height of 2 meters, while on the coast of the Arabian Sea it will be rough with a maximum wave height of 4 meters. The Public Authority for Civil Aviation values the efforts exerted by the National Committee for Emergency Management and other sectors, as well as the response of the citizens to the reports issued by the authority. A UK institution, Oil Price, stated in its report that Oman is currently engaged in developing new sources of income for the country and is also exploring cost-cutting technologies by promoting new energy projects that aim at supporting the country's efforts to diversify its economy and overcoming the impact of low oil prices. The report commended the country on the volume of investments in the energy infrastructure, making reference to the Harwell integrated project, which has become operational from the first source well. The mega project is located in the wilayat of Shalim in Halaniyat Islands. The oil facilities built there produce oil and gas from the Harwell oil reservoirs via a miscible gas injection, which is a type of an enhanced oil recovery mechanism developed by PDO. Once the project reaches its full capacity, it will deliver over 60,000 barrels of oil, 6 million cubic meters of gas, and 16 million cubic meters of sour gas per day. The report also stated that PDO made a substantial production of oil, gas and condensates last year, as it produced 1,210,000 of oil equivalent per day. The report referred to Amir Solar Project, which has commenced commercial operations with a capacity to support over 15,000 houses with necessary power. The overall completion rate for the product storage and export terminals has reached 68.6% as part of the third phase for Duqm refinery. This phase is divided into 3 packages. The first package relates to the construction of product export terminal on Duqm port. The second part is the 80 kilometers long pipeline works from Ras Al Markaz to Duqm refinery, and the third package is the construction of crude oil storage facilities in Ras Markaz. The market value for companies registered in Muscat securities market neared 19.4 billion Omani Riyals for the first time in its history. This is due to the increase in the number of closure companies registered in the stock market and the increase in the number of issued bonds and money market instruments. Muscat Securities Market achieved gains in the market value in the last month, which increased by 968.2 million Omani Riyals as it increased to 19.93 billion Omani Riyals by the end of the trading. The total quantity of fish landed by the end of May 2020 stood at 317,800 tons. The National Center for Statistics and Information pointed out that according to the initial data by the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries Wealth, the total value of fish landed by traditional fishing reached more than 143 million Omani Riyals, with an increase by 18.1% compared to the same period in May 2019. Now, people express their happiness in having a long Eid holiday combined with the lockdown that has contributed in preventing social gatherings. I was present in some of the places and I met some of them who had expressed to come. A long Eid holiday combined with the lockdown is concluded tonight, and people have had quality time spent with their family at home during Eid, at the same time following precautionary measures to further prevent the transmission of coronavirus. The measure of which has assisted in preventing social gatherings. People were able to send their best wishes to their relatives and friends through social media, video conferencing and other methods.
The 2 weeks has made us stick to our family at home. It was a good opportunity to break the transmission of coronavirus. We hope this will help to reduce this pandemic.
It was hard for us during the last 2 weeks, but we were committed for staying at home. We enjoyed Eid with family and we followed the prevention measure of coronavirus, and we hope it vanished from our country, hopefully.
The Eid holiday was a huge opportunity for us because we had a chance to spend time with our families, and of course the COVID-19 would probably reduce because of this social distancing. It's this is pretty important to everybody.
The 2 weeks were great. We had a good Eid with my father, mother, and my sibling. We trust that coronavirus will vanish, inshallah.
I'm really glad that I came out today. Although we had to stay at home, but I felt little bored, so I just came in car to see the beach. We contributed to stay at home to prevent coronavirus. We really enjoy at home, but sometimes we feel bored, but that is not like we don't want to stay at home. We play games like chess, Ludo, and so many games with my family. I really enjoy playing with them. And we hope we contributed to prevent coronavirus, and I hope that coronavirus really vanishes in this world.
So we are happy to see the government taking very effective decisions to combat COVID-19. We have seen the numbers declining rapidly in the past week and following since the curfew and the lockdown. We hope to continue seeing very bright news, very good news. We are taking care of ourselves. We are staying at home. We are following all the necessary precautions that were published by all the authorities. Alhamdulillah, we are seeing results, and we hope and we pray to God that we see more good results in the coming days, inshallah.
People's commitment in following the preventive measures has helped in protecting people from COVID-19. Abdullah bin Ahmed al-Rubi'i, Sultanate of Oman Television, Muscat. You're watching the Sultanate of Oman Television, and yet to come in our news bulletin. France has been sweltering a trough heat wave since Thursday. Once again, welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. Arab League Chief Ahmed Abul Ghait today got a close-up view of the Beirut port, where a blast killed more than 158 people and injured 6,000 others earlier this week. Ghait toured the site of the explosion that destroyed a swath of the city following a meeting with Lebanese President Michel Aoun. Ghait said he would seek to mobilize Arab efforts to provide support to Lebanon, and that the Cairo-based League of the Arab State was ready to assist the investigation into the blast. Overturned ships and piles of debris and grain were seen at Beirut's port days after the massive warehouse explosion ripped through the site. The warehouse contained 2,750 tons of a highly explosive ammonium nitrate blew up on Tuesday, sending a mushroom cloud and fireball into the sky. Lebanon's Prime Minister and Presidency have said the ammonium nitrate, which is used in making fertilizers and bombs, have been stored for 6 years without safety measures at a port warehouse. President Aoun, who has promised a full investigation, said 20 port officials had been detained as part of the investigation. The coronavirus pandemic has now claimed 721,902 lives since December, when it first surfaced in China. There have been nearly 19.5 million cases officially recorded in 196 countries and territories, with 11.5 million cases or classed as recovered. The United States is the country with the highest death toll at 161,358, followed by Brazil with 99,572 dead, Mexico 51,311, Britain 46,511, and India 42,518 deaths. Brazil, second to the US, has just under 100,000 deaths caused by the virus. Mexico, meanwhile, has topped 50,000 dead. Turkmenistan, which officially has no coronavirus cases, has agreed to let the World Health Organization (WHO) carry out independent sampling of virus tests after it expressed serious concern over rising pneumonia cases there. A WHO mission visited the gas-rich Central Asian state last month and advised it to adopt measures including contact tracing, as if COVID-19 were already circulating. Investigators have recovered the black box flight recorders and cockpit voice recorders from an Air India Express plane that crashed in southern India, killing at least 18 people, including both pilots. The plane carrying 190 people crash-landed during bad weather, injuring scores of passengers. The 2-year-old Boeing 737, on a special flight from Dubai to bring back Indians stranded by the coronavirus pandemic, overshot the runway at Kozhikode in Kerala state, planked down on an embankment and broke up in two. Aviation Minister Hardeep Singh Puri visited the site today. Kozhikode is considered a tricky airport as it has a tabletop runway with a steep drop at one end. Kerala has been hit by severe floods in recent days, and heavy rains had been falling for several hours at Kozhikode as the jet landed. Local taxi drivers and traders joined airport rescue staff to help free people from the wreckage in the dark and wet. Within 3 hours, all the injured and bodies were cleared. Kerala State Health Minister K.K. Shailaja asked local residents who joined the rescue efforts to go into quarantine as a precautionary measures. At least 26 people have died after 46 days of heavy rains in South Korea, with the country's longest monsoon in 7 years causing more flooding, landslides and evacuations today. Nearly 5,000 people had been evacuated as rains battered the southern part of the Korean peninsula. 10 people are missing. About 100 meters of levee collapsed at the Seomjin River in the southern edge of the peninsula and flooded the area, with about 1,900 people evacuated in the province. 5 homes were buried in a landslide yesterday from a mountain behind a village, Kogseong, killing 5 people. 3 people have been rescued. The city of Seoul warned people to stay away from basements, valleys and rivers as further torrential rains were expected. France saw a record level of traffic jams today, with cars stuck in gridlock on Roasting Road, spanning 820 kilometers across the country, suffering a brutal heat wave. France's traffic authorities said the peak was reached just after noon, easily beating both last Saturday's record of 760 kilometers and the previous record of 762 kilometers set on August 3rd of last year. The country has been sweltering through a heat wave since Thursday, with temperatures pushing towards 40 degrees Celsius in several areas. No relief is expected until Wednesday, with the soaring temperatures compounding the pressure as the country's coronavirus outbreak worsens. Authorities reminded sweltering citizens that masks must be continued to be worn where they have been mandated despite the heat. Last year was France's hottest on record, and the weather agency has warned that global warming could double the number of heat waves by 2050. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. The Ministry of Health reports 7 deaths and 290 new cases of COVID-19 in the Sultanate. The effects of the weather condition ends as scattered rains are expected on some governorates of the Sultanate. And Beirut blast death toll rises to 158 and more than 6,000 people are injured. And with that, we do conclude this news bulletin, brought to you live from this news center of the Sultanate of Oman television. Thank you for joining us, and good night to all of you.